So some of you might have noticed I took down my beer reviews, or at least unlisted them. I didn't feel that they were really doing anything for the channel except for possibly confusing it. So I may look at adding a second channel later, but right now I'm going to focus on the truck and automotive related projects, tools and projects. That's a damn good beer though. So a couple items that I have left is one, I'm going to get my brakes finished up, and right now I'm in a really boring part of a whole lot of cleanup and not a whole lot of action and doing things other than scrape and wire brush and rough. But you know, it's one of those things, it has to be done. And when you're by yourself and you're doing things on budget, or you know, maybe you don't have every tool, you have to do what you have to do, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So just again, this is part of the prove it can be done on, or even the tightest of budgets, even in today's horrible mess of an economy with the inflation going on. So again, I've got brakes that need to come in. This side over here, video on where it's all cleaned up. This one's still got some to go. Matter of fact, this one I gotta pull this off and possibly get up underneath there. So lots of cleanup left. This side over here is done. I got some video, I'll show you that one. This side over here, I've got to start really on the cleanup. I've got a little bit partial cleanup, but still needs quite a bit of wire brush and clean up underneath the fender. I'm gonna get to that. Hopefully we'll get that ready, cleaned up, and get painted. Get this frame rail, at least the front half from the transmission crossmember forward, painted so I can start running these brake lines. Once the brake lines are ran, I do still have to do rear brakes, but I've got everything I need for them. They should be good to go. And basically, I guess I need to go ahead and put in my longer wheel studs. I had to pull the front back apart and put in longer wheel studs so my new wheels fit on the studs correctly. And then I'm kind of starting to get to the end of this build. So honestly, this truck is really close to being a drivable alternative, or drivable vehicle that I can kind of hit some of the rod runs and different things. So, you know, the budget of this truck has been very low. I'm probably well under 6,000 right now for this truck. Maybe with the new wheels, it's going to be running a little bit closer, but for the most part, it's been very low budget. And I was lucky enough that most everything on this truck was good. I didn't have to replace a whole lot. I mean, all fresh brakes, and the brake lines were, honestly, they're in good shape, but it's one of those things I just don't trust. 30-year-old steel that's been sitting there and under a pressure to bring me to a halt. So I'm replacing that. I want safe brakes. And again, we're looking at a 55, 60 mile an hour vehicle, not a 100 mile an hour vehicle. So drums it is. Having said that, I'm pretty much, once we get to that point, minus the maybe a little bit of touches interior wise, I've spent the money I need to spend to get this thing on the road. Now, that is when this project changes and it becomes a more, you know, I'm drivable, looks cool, I can take it to rod runs if I want, but still want to add to it on the weekends. So the budget becomes more of a, well, let's save up and let's do the things I really want to do. So I want your suggestions. One that I'm really considering is work on this slant 6. I'm thinking intake and exhaust, put a 4-barrel intake on it, possibly a sniper. I'm not sure cam wise if I want to do anything with it yet. Maybe. You know, I've heard these little slant 6s run, and be hopped up a little on me. They sound actually kind of cool. So please, in the comments, tell me what's your recommendation for intakes. I've seen some Offies. I've seen some the Clifford. Clifford's one I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but they make quite a bit of stuff for this, and it's readily available. It's price-wise is pretty close to anything else out there. So anybody use Clifford? Please comment me. Let me know. And again, of course, there's Aussie Speed, which has a ton of stuff for these cars, from aluminum with fuel injection setup already on them. The whole kit, I'm kind of liking that. You know, there's multiple ways to look at this thing, and my thoughts are the Aussie Speed is going to be, you know, a few $1,000s, and honestly, I get too deep into it, I'm looking at V8 swap territory. Am I better off there? I don't know. The cool factor, no. I think this old slant six with some added amenities would just really wow people at shows and rod runs and things like that. It might not win the race, might not be. Well, I mean, by the time you put a lot of, I think you can make this thing drivable, like mild-mannered on the road, and have enough power to do what I want it to do. If I go V8 swapping this thing, I want to do something with the front end. I want to do something with the whole suspension is going to change. So next step budget-wise would be play with the slant. Next step hot ride-wise is play with the suspension. So what would you guys do? Should I focus on getting the suspension ready and just forget the slant six, go to a V8, maybe a Gen 3, and go with that? Definitely never going to happen. There's no way in hell an LS would ever go in this truck. I am a purist on that. I wouldn't. I can't bring myself to do it. LS is a great engine though, and my Jeep, I'm going to LS swap it. Let's face it, they're half the cost, but I can't bring myself to do that to a truck like this. Wiring harness is great in this truck now. I feel it is 100%. It's 100% reliable. Got a good set of headlights. We got our relays here ready to go. Clutch, I know what's wrong with it. It's an easy fix. The spring was missing off the thing. It was broke. That's why it wasn't returning as quick as it should. But I do have a new slave cylinder. I'll probably put on the thing anyway. Go ahead and flush it out and make sure I don't have problems later on. Anyway, looking for feedback. Guys, tell me, once this budget part's done and I put this truck on the road, what am I saving money for? Am I saving money for a slant six? Am I saving money for suspension? Then later go with V8 swap? Do I spend the money on car stereo? Some of the things kind of go together. I don't know. So I think I can't go wrong with suspension, even if I keep this engine. Yet I'll lose some of the nostalgia with this straight axle and set up the way I've got it. I know, I really need some opinions, guys. Please get down there in those comments and let me know what you think. I really want to hear more. I want to hear everybody else's take on this one. Because I've got my opinions, and the truth of the matter, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I want to do. But it's still cool to hear opinions, and I have heard some that made me really change my thoughts. So let's hear it.